The boroughs are New York City. The burbs are everywhere else. Real estate is the ultimate game of risk and reward. It's the biggest investment most people ever make. Fortunes are made over a lifetime and lost in a day. And we're not playing with monopoly money. How do you stay ahead? Who's buying? Who's selling? And why? What do they know? We want the truth. You need an edge. Boroughs and Burbs is your secret weapon, giving you the insider knowledge and strategies you need to succeed in the high-stakes world of real estate. From Palm Beach to Palm Springs, Manhattan to Malibu, we press the experts to expose the pain, find the deals, and occasionally predict the future. That's Boroughs and Burbs, Thursdays, 3 o'clock Eastern, noon Pacific. Because everyone can make money in real estate.
Welcome, everybody. Boroughs and Burbs, Season 6, Episode 214, Billionaire's Triangle. Hello, Roberto. Good to have you in the house.
How are you, sir? Good to see you.
Where are you?
I'm on the Upper West Side of Manhattan, where it's very cold. Feels like 25 right now. Not good.
25. Oof.
But it's warmer than it's going to be next week.
All right. Well, this is Boroughs and Burbs, as I said, Season 6, Episode 214. You'll see this show up on boroughsandburbs.com and on YouTube within the hour. And I am John Engel of the Engel team, and you'll find me at the Engel team, along with all my friendly faces, including Melissa. That's Roberto. You'll find him at robertocabrera.com, and this is his newest newsletter on the market in New York. The tie goes to the runner. You have a new one coming out next week, don't you?
Yes, I do. Thank you.
And you want to give me a preview of it?
No.
No? Big secret.
No.
Okay. Leave us hanging. Today, we're doing What is Billionaire's Triangle? You type that into Google and you get this. It doesn't exist, but it's taking over South Florida's shoreline. Well, if that's not intriguing, I don't know what is. So we decided we're going to do a show on it. We also asked AI, and they gave us another little bit of a hint. They just sort of said it's Surfside, Bal Harbor, and Indian Creek Island. Well, I've heard of Indian Creek. So I asked Tara West with Douglas Elliman and Drew Backoff, who's recently joined Douglas Elliman to head up the Delmore project. And I said, come tell us about the Delmore and Billionaire's Triangle generally. And with that, let's get started. Hello, Drew. Hello, Tara. Glad to have you on the show.
Hello. Glad to be here. Thank you.
Hey, John. Great to be here.
So we met in New York because everything starts in New York, doesn't it, Roberto? Everything starts in New York, where I saw the most fantastic model of the Delmore, and among a room full of beautiful new development in Florida. So point number one, Florida is marketing to New Yorkers. Two, there was a room full of beautiful projects, but this was perhaps the most beautiful and perhaps the most expensive, which makes it really intriguing, and which is why I asked Tara, why is it so special? Why is it so special, Tara? Tell me about the Delmore.
Well, first of all, Delmore, it's a project that has been basically developed for the 1% of the 1% of the world. It's located oceanfront, 2 acres, 200 linear feet of ocean frontage in Surfside. Is developed by the developers, Damac International, one of the most renowned developers out of Dubai. They are the largest developer out of Dubai. They have a presence in the Middle East, in Europe, in Asia, and this is their entrance into the United States market.
While you're talking, I'm going to show a picture so everybody can see.
Sure, yeah.
That's a picture of this gorgeous new building and the 200 feet that you mentioned.
Exactly.
Okay.
And this is the architect behind this is Zaha Hadid architectural firm. Has designed this. This will be their second project in Miami, but their first on ocean frontage. It is 12 floors. Again, we'll kind of get into the specifics, but this area is a very special enclave. There are quite a lot of restrictions, one being you can only build up to 12 floors in Surfside. So it's a 12-story building, 37 residences, expansive floor plans. We average about 7,000 square feet for our floor plans. Our price point is averaging about 40 million. And
40 million.
40
Yeah.
million.
Okay. Got it.
And as far as amenities go, so for 37 residences, we've got 55,000 square feet of amenities. Of that, 20,000 square feet is what you had just seen there, which was the oceanfront meditation garden, all designed by Carolina Monteiro, who is a very well-known landscape architect out of Sao Paulo. She's currently based in Miami. Very well known for her attention to detail and color when it comes to her flora. The interior designer of the building is Hirsch Bedner Associates, based out of Singapore, very well known for their designs when it comes to hospitality, resorts, hotels around the world. They also have a residential component. So, so that tells you just like a little bit about the interior of it. The smallest floor plan in here is going to be one of our lines, which is 5,100 square feet. We only have 4 and 5 bedrooms, and the main residence.
Save that one for me.
Okay. So we have 4 and 5 bedrooms, and then of course our penthouses start at 10,000 square feet. What you're seeing here is of the amenities, we have two 75-foot pools, one being this one, which is on the rooftop, which bridges the two towers together, which is just truly iconic, a glass bottom pool. There's only one other pool like this in the world, which is in London, part of the Nine Elms project. So what will happen is you'll walk in from the porte cochere, the front of the building, and you'll look up 125 feet and you'll see this pool suspended, which is one of those pieces of architecture that bridges these two towers. We basically have two towers, so that bridges the two towers together. That's one aspect of it. And then we have another 75-foot pool, which is located on the main level, facing the ocean, a proper 75-foot lap
For
pool.
those who don't want to swim suspended 20 floors up
It's pretty
over
amazing.
glass.
Pretty amazing. So
Take care of them too.
yeah. So the location, what you're seeing here, here's Billionaire's Triangle. So first of all, the name Delmore came about, the developer wanted to put his name on it, DeMac, and we knew that probably wouldn't be the best thing to do. So he definitely wanted something that started with a D. So that's why you've got the Delmore, and Delmore meaning of water, of sea, of water and land. So Del Mare, really. So we positioned it to be a little bit more elegant as the Delmore. So that's how the name came about. The location, so we are right at the base of where Surfside begins. And then as you go north, you go through obviously Surfside up to Bal Harbor, and adjacent would be Indian Creek. And this is what we've coined the Billionaire's Triangle. We coined this about a year ago. Reason being is because we started seeing during COVID really the when we started seeing that exodus, or the migration of a lot of the ultra high net worth individuals coming from the Northeast and coming to South Florida, predominantly into Miami, and those that were interested in the beach were specifically interested in the Surfside Bal Harbor area. And why? Because it tends to be more of a serene, calm, highly elevated area, very family oriented, and just there's a scarcity, obviously, of water frontage of land here, which is obviously it's increasing pricing because there is that scarcity of property here. Indian Creek, that is probably one of the most premier areas. It has about 41 estates on it, with individuals such as Jeff Bezos that live there. The average price point of those homes over there are averaging around $100 million. Recently, Bezos assembled a contiguous piece of 3 pieces lots together over there, which value about 250 million. So we look at the Delmore because we've seen a lot of interest from Indian Creek owners over there coming over to the Delmore, actually using it as interested in having it as one of their um, locations on the ocean. So we view the Delmore as a vertical property in connection with Indian Creek. So
Is
The people
Bezos on
with
that west side?
$250 million properties are using that as like a cabana to
exactly
be
like
close to the water.
exactly
It's
that
This is your beach
incredible.
house, Roberto, a block
house
from, a
that
few blocks
averages
from your Indian Creek house.
right, that averages
Unbelievable.
7,000 square feet. So so again, so this is an area, it's emerging global wealth corridor of Miami Beach, the northern part of it, and just severely limited land and restrictive zoning, which really has driven the price point up before 2020. We in this area, to see $3,000 per square foot was amazing. And now we're at a point where you're seeing $55 to $6,000 per square foot just within that 5-year period. We've seen this increase specifically in this area. So it is. It's really an area that is quite amazing. I'll mention one other thing in this area. What kind of put it on the map as far as condos go is the Surf Club residences, the Surf Club Four Seasons residences. This was built about 10 years ago in 2017, and this really was the premier condo building in that area. And it has maintained its exclusivity, even though it's almost 10 years old. Just this year alone, between January 1st to the end of 2025, there were 5 resales that happened in that building, all averaging between 5,000 to 6,000 per square foot, and the price ranging anywhere from 10 to $40 million. So and with that, we've had more buildings that have come up in the area, Arte, and then some more buildings affiliated with the Four Seasons that developer has just completely just finished building a few of them.
So on the map in front of me, I see that the bottom of the triangle, that's the Delmore. At the top
Correct.
of the triangle, Ritz-Carlton, Bal Harbor,
Yes,
and in between St. Regis, Bal Harbor. Is
right.
that considered the current? Because yours is under construction and the newest and grandest, but is the current gold standard the Bal Harbor, Ritz, and St. Regis?
I would say the current gold standard would be the Four Seasons in Surfside, followed by Arte, which is in Surfside, Oceana in Surfside. We then in Bal Harbor, you have the Ritz-Carlton, you have a new project too, undergoing construction ravage. There's just a number of them. Fendi Chateau is up there. That whole corridor has been developed really within the last 10 years with prime condos that are being developed on the ocean frontage. So, and most of these we are seeing they're averaging about $5,000 per square foot. So we're quite competitive with that. We're in first tier pricing with the Delmore. And we're averaging about $4,300 per square foot. That's excluding the penthouses. Including the penthouses, we're about $5,500 per square foot. The reason our price points are so high is because our square footage is so large. So you take
Roberto, can you tell me about Billionaires Row in New York and how does that compare? I'm going to tell you in Connecticut, we're topping out at 1,800, maybe 2,000 per square foot for a
I
luxury
mean,
condo. We don't have that product out here. Do you have that product?
on the highest end, we have 8,000, 9,000, 10,000 square foot. But, that's
New York
that's
City.
not there's not, hundreds of those. There's, 50, 60, 70 of those. And I'm just, I'm looking at this map from my phone, and first of all, I was wondering what all that greenery was on Indian Creek. It's all golf courses.
golf course, private golf
And
course.
this triangle is a very small geographical area is the reality. And there's
Mhm.
very little there. And I was trying to place it because we were at the Four Seasons just a couple of weeks ago, and I was wondering where it was in relation to that. So what was this property before? Just curious.
So
Just
this
vacant
was,
land?
no, unfortunately, this was the Champlain Tower that
Oh,
came down. Yeah,
interesting.
yeah. So
Okay.
that was 4 years ago that
Yeah.
occurred. And it was obviously, there was 200 linear feet, 2 acres of property. This developer came in and purchased it, and they are developing it. There is a memorial that is on the ocean side, on the north side of the property, that would be dedicated. Surfside, the city of Surfside is heading that up, but that will be there to memorialize those individuals. But that is where this is. Yes.
Roberto,
But
I
this,
think
so
to
this,
your point, and what you're saying, right? I mean, you're dealing with such a small geographic area. So Surfside is the stretch of Surfside is incredibly finite, and there is no new meaningful oceanfront land available. It just does not exist. And you can take that conversation beyond Surfside and really start going up the coast along South Florida. But when we get really laser focused and take call it a bit of a surgical approach, or a surgical look at this very small section of the market, there's just it doesn't exist. So this will probably be one of the last new vertical condo buildings that we'll see in this area.
Yeah.
but at this price point, even here, it is an anomaly. No one's going to be at this price point essentially along this coast.
What you mean, the rest of Miami Beach?
In that triangle, you're going to be by far the most highly priced, correct? I mean, you're also the newest thing in town, which would make
Um,
sense.
From a
well,
condo perspective, Roberto, but when you look over at Indian Creek, to Tara's
yeah,
point, your average price
100
in
million.
the single family homes is 100 million. And we're
100
seeing
million.
land deals happening in Indian Creek for 40-50 million dollars plus. So it's the price point
But that's a
it
different
exists.
product.
It's a different product, yes.
Single
But
family,
Yeah.
it's
correct.
single family
So
product.
I kind of see a little bit of a vacant lot. Maybe this is an old image, but to the north of the Four Seasons, what is that?
So that's their property. Fort Partners, which is the developer of all of that, has really developed all along that area. So you've got the Four Seasons, which was their first. Then you have Seaway, which they've just finished. That was theirs. Then you have Hillcrest, which is another one right next to theirs. I think I've got everything. Oh, and then you have Arte, which was developed by Alex Sapir. Right next to that is I forget what they're calling that, Drew, but that is also being developed by them. It only has about 8 to 12 residences in that building, but that is all Fort Partners, all part of Four Seasons that's developing all along there. So you have Four Seasons, and then if you drop south, then you've got Arte, and then you've got some other older buildings that have been renovated, and then you would have Delmore. Yeah,
Right.
right here. And if you were to move north, unfortunately, we don't have a photo that shows north of Four Seasons, but that's where you're going to see a lot of the new product that has gone out up within the last 10 years. Oceana, Fendi Casa. There's another one that's going up, Ocean House, currently right now. Then you have Rivage, and Rivage is basically a building that was taken down in Bal Harbor and then rebuilding. So that's what you're going to start to see are the older buildings. If they can buy out the ownerships of those buildings, you'll see some new product going in there. But that's what makes ours so unique is that, unfortunately, something terrible, occurred there, but
Right.
it did allow for a beautiful lot to be built on.
So the greenery to the south is what?
That's North Shore Space Park. So that's part of Miami Beach. Miami Beach actually starts, you see the building right next,
Yeah.
south of ours, that's 87
Yeah.
Park. That is where Miami Beach starts. So North Shore Space Park, this was completed about 2.5 years ago. What happened here is the developer that developed 87 Park right next to us infused 10 million into the renovation of that, and the city of Miami Beach met them. So it's a $20 million renovation that occurred there. And so that's Miami Beach. What you're seeing behind that is obviously Miami Beach, and then the islands. You see Biscayne Point back there, Stillwater Island, and then you would see Lagos back here, but so back into the islands over there, and then obviously Mid Beach as you get, as you pass south, when you go through the North Shore Space Park, then you start hitting Mid Beach up here. That's in the 50th and Collins, that moves up. And then of course you've got the downtown in the distance that you're looking at. But one of the things I want to mention, seeing that you're looking at this, so we're very lucky where we're located on this project because it's one of the thinnest slips of land in Surfside, so that you, on our west views, you achieve Biscayne views already. When you move up north to Four Seasons, you're looking basically at single family homes, which is the Surfside single family homes. So here you're achieving water views both west and obviously the east ocean views.
Roberto and I just did a show on.
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
We just did the show on Jackson Hole, and people were talking about Jackson Hole, and I asked, and it always comes up, how hard is it to get there? When I looked at your map a moment ago, I saw this Fort Lauderdale International Airport not too far away, and I think I saw a private airport. So it occurs to me that New Yorkers like Roberto, who are complaining about it being cold today, 25 degrees, they feel like I got to get out of here. And Jackson Hole is hard to get to. It takes 2 flights
We're
for most of
not.
them.
Roberto, you can be here for dinner tonight.
Yeah.
How hard is it to get there?
Very-
It sounds like it's not that hard, even if I don't have a private plane.
Very convenient. We're located near Fort Lauderdale Airport, Miami Airport. You got the private one in Opelika. Am I right, Drew? That's what they call it, the Opelika?
FBO is Opelika, but then you have Miami International and Fort Lauderdale International. We're
Beach.
nestled fairly
Right.
middle ground between both of those, and you have every major airline that flies direct in and out of New York, to Miami and Fort Lauderdale multiple times a day. So it really is, if that cold gets to you, you can be down here in a few hours.
And that's one of the things that is important, about this area, is that it is very, it's very convenient to the airport. So there's a lot of connectivity where it's situated. We're close to downtown. We're close to Brickell. We're close to Fort Lauderdale.
Now, where is it on the map we're looking at now? I see the Delmore and I see Surfside.
Right.
The private airport is like right here in North Miami Beach, or is it even closer? Opelika, right here,
there you
airport.
Go. Yeah,
there it
right
is.
there.
Yeah.
That's where it
Boom.
is, right there.
So is that a 15-minute drive?
I would say in traffic, it's probably from us about 30 minutes, would you say?
Okay.
Yeah, in season, time of day. But yeah, you're 30-minute drive.
Yeah, about 30 minutes.
And then the Fort Lauderdale Airport in comparison?
40 minutes.
Yeah.
Okay.
30 in traffic.
That's right here.
Yeah, in traffic.
The top of the screen. Right.
And then you have Miami, which is another 20 minutes south of us.
Yeah.
So you're very connected when it comes to the ability to get around within this area.
Roberto, one of the other things I just wanted to mention, and especially as you have this view here on screen, John, given that we are in that thin sliver of land with surrounded by water on both sides, just to add to Tara's point, the geographically, number one, it naturally caps the density in this area. So there is a unique lifestyle that is offered in the Surfside area and surrounding areas that will not change, just because you can't build. Forget about availability, but you just can't. You can only get so dense in those areas, and scarcity. Because of and Tara had mentioned this before, but because of the scarcity, that is going to support long-term value in this market over time.
Sure. So can you tell me where you are in the process of the construction? When is it going to be delivered? What is the pay scale like? Usually it's, 10, 20% now, 15, 20%, whatever the case. Like, can you give me a sense of that?
So we broke ground August 2024. So from that point on, they have been building, there's 2 subterranean levels of this, which is parking. So they've been building the bathtub, if you will, that will encompass that subterranean parking. So they've just finished that. We're getting at a point now where the pilings are getting ready to go in. And hopefully that happens within the next 2 to 3 months. And as far as we are due to closing is scheduled in Q3 of 2029. However, we were very, very conservative with that. So when we're actually traveling around, the world and we're presenting this, the developer is actually stating that he thinks that we'll be able to turn it over to the new ownership around Q3 of 2028. We're going to wait till we bring the GC on to run this by then to make sure they confirm and they're all on board with that. But it's probably going to be anywhere between Q4 2028, Q3 of 2029 when we deliver this. As far as the deposit schedule, it's 20% down signing contract. And then there's another 10% that's due 120 days after that. And then an additional 20% due at top off, which is basically end of 2027. And then the remaining 40% at closing. And the payout is pretty similar to the brokers with that as well, that schedule. So yeah, that's our schedule there.
I pulled up
That's
some
I mean,
pictures.
for in
Here's some
relative
pictures
terms, it's a
of
long
Harvard.
timeline, but with a big payoff.
It is. I mean, you get the 30%, the brokers would get 30% right after contract, right? And then they're going to get another 30% of their payout at top off, which is end of 2027, and then 40% at closing. Yeah. But think about it. I mean, you sell one of these units.
I wasn't thinking about it from my perspective.
But
I was thinking about it from a purchaser
but
perspective.
it's important to state, because when we state this to brokers, when we're presenting it in front of brokers, that you sell one of these units, you're making anywhere from $1 million to $2 million in commission. That's a life changer for many individuals. So it is. It's a very, look, I know a lot of people think this is an incredible price point, but I think it's really where we're seeing that we're almost like in a 20-year cycle right now with this huge global migration of wealth that is coming to where is it coming from? We've seen in the last year alone, in 2025, over 16,000 ultra high net worth individuals left the UK because of their wealth tax that was imposed there. Where did they go? They moved to Dubai and they moved to Miami. Specifically, that's what the statistics are showing. And so we see that this is only going to continue with this, and that we feel we're in that 20-year cycle right now. We're 5 years into that. But you're going to continue to see is definitely in a period of where wealth migration is moving around the world, and Miami is definitely at the top of that migration that we've seen just in the literally just in the last year. And then, of course, we see what just happened with California, right? So they've got their wealth tax that has just been imposed. We've already seen in the last week, we've just gotten, was it 2 CEOs from Google, Drew, that just purchased here? I think it was Larry Page and
Larry Page purchased, yeah, over 100 million.
Over $100 million. So we're starting to see, and these are things that have just come up. So obviously we're going to start seeing momentum throughout the years, but you've got that aspect of California. You've got the whole Mamdani thing. I know everybody thought there'd be a huge exodus. I do not think that's going to happen, but I do think you'll start to see individuals, and we've seen it, that may come make their way down to Florida. And specifically, I mean, we see that. Why? Because we might want to bring one of these statistical slides that we have up that show at this point in time the what we're seeing as far as this migration, which is a huge.
So, but your interest is global. It's not necessarily just domestic or anything like that. It's a global.
It's interesting you bring that up, because people say, where are you seeing your buyers for Delmore? We're seeing most of our buyers. We think we're going to have 50% from Europe and 50% from the Northeast. That's really where we have geared a lot of our travels within the last year, is getting in front of these individuals in Europe and in the Northeast. Predominantly, that's what we're seeing. That is going to be the buyer for this particular building, the Delmore. And then I think the statistics kind of support this just from what we're seeing in Europe. Again, UK is a huge, huge area where we've been seeing a lot of this migration coming from, and from our clientele. We've met in over there several times to meet with particular clientele interested in coming into Florida because of the tax situation. Obviously no state tax, because of it is a very friendly environment when it comes to entrepreneurship over here. And of course the weather is very inviting. So that those tend to be the 3 things that come out when we're discussing this with those individuals. But
Yeah, and Roberto, if you look at the slide here in that green area, in 2025, Miami outpaced global markets, London, markets like New York City as the top secondary homeowner market, and for the first time, and that trend we only continue to see it pouring into the marketplace, as Tara was mentioning. I mean,
This is
not just
2025. Sorry.
this is 2025, correct?
Okay.
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
I-
Yeah, so Miami is now is leading not just on a regional or domestic scale, but on a global scale.
What can you share with regards to sales velocity? And you have 37 units. I know a lot of this is proprietary, but just what can you
right.
share about that?
I can say that we've been very, very busy with a number of contracts, and hopefully we'll have some good press releases coming out very soon. So keep in mind that we finished our sales gallery here at basically the end of May, and of course that's low season. So we took this project out on the road. We traveled to Europe most of the summer and to the Northeast, meeting with a lot of individuals. And now that high season is hit, so this is our first high season here, we're seeing a lot of those individuals that have come down now, and they're making their way down to actually see the project, to see and feel the pallets of stone and wood and so forth that are being used on the interiors. So we've been working in contracts with those individuals, and hope to be able to present some of the sales that we've achieved just in the first few months of high season over here because of that, because of the work of
And where is the sales office?
sales office is located. So it's not, obviously it's not on site. It's located on
Right.
301 71st Street, which is between Collins Avenue and Harding Avenue, within that area. There's a lot of
But are you in the triangle?
We are not in the triangle. We are about a 5-minute drive south of that triangle where our
Okay.
sales gallery is. Yeah. Completely built out, beautiful space. We have, we're able to show materials that are being used for the residences themselves, for amenities, and so forth, videos, and to be able to show them, and they actually can come in and see what our kitchens are. So one of the things about these residences is that we have two kitchens. You have a show kitchen and a chef kitchen, and they are quite large. So they're able to come in and see that they're able to outfit the chef kitchen as luxurious as they'd like. It can match or be something a little different from the show kitchen. All of the floor plans will have those two kitchens, except for the smallest floor plan, that's 5,100 square feet. They will not have that chef kitchen. And also, to get back into one of the other things I think that's a really big selling point, is that we do have private air-conditioned, climate-controlled parking garages. So you have your own private garage, close it down, climate-controlled. The standard units will have 3 parking spaces. The penthouses will have 6, which is really quite, it's very good. We don't see a lot of that. And then if you're lucky enough, a few of the parking spaces, if they don't have an air duct going through, they'll be able to put in a lift there, so they'll be able to achieve 6 and 12 parking spaces. And we see a lot of individuals are interested in, obviously they can.
Now you got John's attention.
Right. Now well, I had a buyer that came in the other day, and he was like, when we started talking about that, he said, look, I have fantastic cars. I obviously wanted to do that, but I look at this as more of an escape. Can I outfit this to go to? And you can. I mean, they can do it. So this is what we're doing. This is going to be his escape. He'll be able to go to.
What are the ceiling heights, curiously?
Ceiling heights are 10 feet. So we have 10-foot ceilings throughout the entire residences, even the penthouses. But yes, we 10-foot ceilings, and everything is completed. The building is marketed as a silver LEED certification, but it could possibly achieve a gold certification. Obviously, we won't know that till the very end. But it has all sorts of things that kind of bring that into play. As far as the AC system, it's a fan coil system, which is seen as being much more efficient, quieter within the residence. We get rid of all those air handlers on the top of the buildings. They're replaced with 2 chilling towers. are terraces, which are averaging about 12 to 13 feet in depth, beautiful entertainment spaces. We have what's called a pedestal system on these. And basically what it is you have obviously your top part here where they have oh, here we go. So you have this beautiful travertine on the flooring of the terrace, microscopic cracks that allow water to drain through, collect in an under mounted pedestal system with pipes and drainage systems that lead the water out underneath the lip here. And that was all designed so that you don't have pockets of water that are standing still, which we see in a lot of South Florida condominium terraces. And it's also to prevent any kind of water intrusion coming to within the unit itself. We have a lot of glass with this building. It's all a Schuco bronze glass system, seen as one of the better ones.
There's a similar motif to Hadid's building here
Yes,
in New York.
exactly.
I mean,
Very
it's
good that
like
you brought that up. Very good. So people say, did Zaha have a hand in this? Obviously, she passed away 10 years ago, but everything you see that the firm does is taken from her conceptual designs. And the first design is that building you just mentioned on the High
it was
Line.
the first thing I noticed when I saw it.
Yeah, that's the first one. And so what they do is they take those conceptual designs and they tailor them to the environment of which they're building. So when their architects all came out here, they went to the beach, they took handfuls of sand from the water's edge, from the middle of the beach to the sand dunes to come up with the texture and the coloring that you have on the exoskeleton of this building, which is another thing, glass fiber reinforced concrete, which is amazing. You have limited rebar in this. It's seen as being more resilient in many climates. It's flexible and malleable. Hence, that's why you have all these beautiful curves and crescents in these terraces, which allows you to have complete privacy from your neighbors. You cannot see into your neighbors' terraces, which is a really big thing to be able to say.
Yeah.
So all that kind of comes into the design, but this is one of my favorite renderings of it. Yeah.
So one place that has not come up, and so it's conspicuous by its absence, is Palm Beach. It occurs to me that really the competition for this is Palm Beach, whether I want to be in the Billionaire's Triangle or do I want to be in Palm Beach. What is that decision based on? It's probably not economic. These are people who can go anywhere. And when they get there, they want to know that they can get there easily, that there's really interesting things to do, other interesting people around, good restaurants, and I haven't heard that yet. So talk to me about the competition between this area, what I'll call the Miami Beach, and the Palm Beach crowd.
Drew,
who's coming, and why are they picking this over Palm Beach?
do you want to start that?
Yeah, sure. So, John, Tara and I were speaking about this earlier. I think, one of the biggest, you're absolutely right, right? If you can afford this, you can afford that. And it's not a question of the price point driving your decision. What I think both between Miami and Palm Beach, I think offer very different lifestyles. First and foremost, yes, you're getting coastal lifestyle, oceanfront Florida living at its finest, but at a very different pace. Palm Beach and Miami, I think, operate at a different pace from each other, which appeals, I think, to different buyers in different ways. Furthermore, I think that the type of money that we see in the markets is a little bit different. So, from a demographic perspective, typically, and we are seeing a shift in this. So, I think we will continue to see this trend shift. However, historically, it has been older generational wealth in the Palm Beach market, whereas Miami, you're seeing younger, more tech money, younger, wealthier individuals that are pouring their money into Miami and making Miami their home. So while you're right from a price perspective, I think both markets do offer, their nuances and very different living, just lifestyles in general. Sorry, anything to
No, I think that's
add?
perfectly, very well said. That's exactly what
You
And
said
you're a
half
hybrid of that, or
half international is what I heard before. Is that also true in Palm Beach, or are you more attractive to the international crowd?
I think we're more attracted to the international crowd. I think
I
Palm
think so
Beach
too.
tends to get more of the northeastern corridor going over there. Yeah. Miami just tends to be more, obviously more of an international city. But yes, we definitely, I think, have more international.
Seems
More
that Palm
variety
Beach
in
is
Miami.
competing with Indian Island and not this because this product is not found on Palm Beach.
Uh,
Correct. You're not going to see much
yeah,
vertical product on Palm Beach, and
no,
especially not at this price point. And
exactly.
the price points that are going to be comparable in the Palm Beach market are going to be large single family home estates. So yes, very very different
Very,
product.
yeah, yeah, I definitely agree with that. Um, I think one of the things I'd like to bring up too is that I think something that sets us apart, obviously, there's so much great inventory out there, right? And you have to have something that really sets you apart from everything. And I think Delmore is so unique in that I personally think it checks every box, being the location of where it's located, the architecture, the building itself, the large floor plans, which are really quite amazing. And again, the reason, I don't even think we even touched upon this, the reason we chose these large floor plans is because a lot of these people moving down wanted large floor plans, or they're leaving homes that are 15, 20,000 square feet. We did not have that inventory come 2020, 2021. So people were coming down and purchasing 2 or 3 residences and combining them. And it kind of skewed the comps because you would see, okay, they purchased a 6 million, a 4 million, a 5 million, and that's all it was. But no, and at the end of the day, when they put it all together, they were in 40, $50 million bringing these things together. So we saw there was a need for a large floor plan. That's why we designed these to be that.
Can we see one?
Uh, if Drew has the capability to bring one up.
Yeah, if you guys can bear with me a second, I'll get you a floor plan. Hang on.
Why don't you bring up
You
Ask and
can.
you shall
702?
receive.
Yeah,
That's what
you
I
guys
want.
keep chatting, and I'm going to get you a floor
I
plan.
would bring up 702. That's one of that we have that we've released in first tier pricing, and that's about 8,700 square feet, and that's a southeast exposure on the building. But yeah, so you've got that. You also have obviously the wellness, and the comfort that we provide as far as and all the amenities that have been really specifically chosen for this building. 2 75-foot pools, a whole wellness corridor, a yoga studio, Pilates reformer studio. But then we have security, and this is the first building that I think we will ever see something what we've ever seen in Miami. So security is a really big thing with individuals at this price level, right? And that's one of the first things they ask. We have hired a company by the name of Active Security out of Washington, D.C. And they head up all the security operation for Department of Defense, for the inauguration, for some United Nations events, for all of the personal residences of past and the current sitting presidents. So they deal with all of this. And the idea is that they've come in and they're going to be basically putting in multi-layered biometric systems throughout this building that are going to be very easy for them to be able to monitor and access. It's all going to be driven off of facial recognition, iris recognition, to the point where you enter the building, it'll recognize your face, and you're able to enter into common areas. When you get into the elevator, it'll recognize your iris recognition, bring you straight up to your residence. So you're going to have all of these layers, and the idea is that you have like several layers that you would have to penetrate in order to get into the building and to get out of the building. So that is a very big thing as far as the security goes, and it starts.
But if I have my Mission Impossible mask, I could.
Well, but then you've got your iris, right? So it's not only being facial, it's iris, and it starts from the moment you pull your car up into the porte cochere. It can look through your
Wow,
the
Windscreen.
that's
windscreen
wild.
and the license plate. So yeah, so that's a very big thing for the building. So again, I think it touches really every aspect. But here you have a beautiful floor
Wow,
plan.
check this out. Wow.
Yeah.
All
And,
right.
and you'll see
Can
that
you walk us through this? Like, where do you come in? I mean, I see it, but
okay. So you would enter here, Drew's got it. Here's your private elevator. Obviously, you have a private elevator to enter, and then you have a service elevator corridor, but you'd enter through here. You have these beautiful, we haven't even talked about these beautiful fins. It's part of the building within the 2 towers, but it is gorgeous, and it's been designed so that it brings movement and light into these residences. And every residence will have a very unique view because the angles of these fins are all different for every single resident going up within that interior. So you'd walk in, you have this beautiful gallery, right? And then you enter into the main living space. So you've got the living area, the show kitchen. Right behind the show kitchen is the chef kitchen, the dining area, and then you have another family entertaining room in this southeast corner over here. You've got two studies back here. If you take it back, you've got the two studies back here. And then you have the secondary bedrooms that fall on the south side. And then you have 1,000 square foot primary
Wow.
suite over here that looks straight down the center due east of the building. And you'll note that the closets were designed to be very large, specifically in the primary, that, everybody, his, hers, everybody has this, that because we find that they usually they have to go and take another secondary bedroom for the closet space, but it's been designed to be very, very large for all of them. And also, well, yeah, and so here's a great view of this. So you're
That's great.
looking there, and then when you look south, you're seeing the North Shore Space Park back there, which is gorgeous. I mean, to have a 28, what is it, 20 acre park, 28 acres, I think it's 28 acre park over there. That's really amazing to have that as a border to the property. So, and then each of those rooms are all privately, they have their own air condition. So every room has their own air condition to monitor, which is quite nice. So
how's the building set up? That's with an 8,000 square foot apartment that's on the 7th floor.
yeah.
Are there like 4 or 5 of those on one side? And then, give me a sense of just
So
your
you're going to
unit
have,
mix.
yeah. So on that O2 line, that's the O2 line of the southeast line. There you go. The O2 line, southeast line is on the wedding cake. We call that the wedding cake area where it kind of, it goes, it tears up like a wedding cake on the south side. So the O2 line is going to average about 8,000 square feet, those residences, up to the 9th floor, because then the 10th, 11th, 12th is where our penthouses start. So you'll average about 8,000 square feet on that. The O1 line, which is the northeast corner, is going to average about 7,000 square feet. Okay. And then we're on the back side. This would be the O3, which is going to be the northwest corner. That's the smallest line. We have 5,100 square feet in those residences. And then in the O4 line, which is the southwest line on the tier cake, we're averaging about 6,500 square feet per residence there, up to the 9th level. And then, of course, the 10th level, we have our lower penthouse. 11th level, we have 2 lower penthouses that take the entire tower. Okay, so you're going to have the 11th floor that wraps around that entire tower, flow through from the west to the east, as well as the premier penthouses, which we have 2 of those on the 12th floor. They have private cabanas and pools. We've released one of those, 1201, which is the northeast, and that's been released at 145 million for that one. And that's about 1,200 square feet on the interior, and the cabana is about 730 square feet there.
What would be the price differential-ish, price per square foot? I mean, this is completely ballpark of, for example, that 702 that faces the water and the backside of that would face west.
Price per square footage, you're probably looking at the ones that are facing the east. We're closer to about right now about 4,500 to 4,800 $4,800 per square foot. On the backside,
Yep.
probably like 38, 39, $4,200 per square foot. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
nothing crazy. It's just, again, because the floor plans are so large, that's why the pricing is so high.
No, I totally understand. I mean, actually,
Yeah.
it's amazing. It's beautiful. It's a beautiful project.
What's the equivalent in New York, Roberto? What I'm hearing is 25% bump for a fabulous water view.
Right.
Is that also true in Manhattan? And in my research, the most expensive views in Manhattan are not of the rivers, but are of Central Park.
Yeah,
Does it get you
I think so.
25% a bump to be on the park side?
I think, but a lot of them have been designed so that they're being designed where you're seeing both sides, right?
Mm-hmm.
You're seeing, for example, if you're on the south side of the park, you're seeing all the way down to the towers as opposed and seeing the park. 15th Central Park West was designed a little differently. Where with that, I mean, it all depends, but I would say that there's a big differential if
Right.
you're isolated to one side over the other.
And it's interesting. I mean, we have had some buyers that have come in and 7,000, 8,000 square feet isn't big enough. So they're combining two of these to achieve 14, 15,000 square feet, which gives them that flow through, right? Like the penthouses, they've got
Yeah,
all of the ocean stemming all the way back to the west side. But we've seen some of that. I somewhat predict that when we close this building, instead of 37, I think you're going to see closer to about 33 residences because of the combination that is occurring, which goes to show, there is definitely a demand for very large floor plans when you're talking ultra high net worth individuals.
yeah.
And we see that some of these people are moving and making this their primary residence. But they still own 4 or 5 properties all over the world. But they are saying, listen, we're moving from New York. We want to make this what we want to be here most of the time. We've seen people from California and Texas and so forth that are looking to make it more of their permanent home. So, yeah.
This is very exciting. It
Yeah.
sounds like the best design in the best area, convenient and special because you've got, I mean, I just showed a few minutes ago some of the towers in Bal Harbor, and you can see it's quite dense. There's towers all around. So this
Yeah.
feels a little less dense and yet not an inconvenient
That's a great
distance
point.
away.
Yeah, that's a great point you bring up. We haven't even touched upon that. So the way that the lot is situated, we are 150 feet away from the building to the south of us, and we're 90 feet away from the building to the north of us, which allows for a vast corridor enabling water views for all the residences there, even those that face west on their side terraces. They have great water ocean views. And it's because we're not, as you go up the coastline, yes, the buildings are very, very close. They get very close. Here, we're fortunate that we have quite a vast corridor on both sides of the building for us.
Remind me again, when do you think the first will open? When do you think the building will open and the first person can move in?
Well, right now in the condo docs, it says Q3 of 2029, but I think I personally, because they padded it so much, I think we're going to see closer to Q4 of 2028. If things go as planned, we have no glitches, right? Nothing happens. I think you're seeing closer to, yeah, Q4 of 2028.
And
Yeah.
if I wait until Q4 of 2028, I'm excited about this. And I'm
Right.
like, yep, this is the best thing. But I'm one of those people who wants to see what else is out there. How much of it what is your estimate that in Q4 of 2028, there will be half of it available,
It
not
better not
much
be.
available, nothing available?
Um,
How well are you doing? I know
I would
Roberto
say
asked the
You're gonna
question
miss out, John. You
differently.
can't wait.
I know.
Can't wait.
I personally think I don't think there's going to be anything available. I really don't at that point in time. And I can tell you the pricing. I mean, we're in our first tier of pricing, getting ready to bump to the second tier of pricing. When that happens, I mean, it just increases. And
This is
I
the crystal ball section of the program, by the
it
way.
is. It is. I
John's
mean,
favorite.
yeah. So, I mean, who has that crystal ball? But I would say, a lot of it, in my opinion, hinges on maintaining a robust marketing budget that allows us to get in front of those buyers, meaning the international buyer and the Northeast buyer. Because in my opinion, I do not see that buyer here. We might every now and then I've got a local that comes in, but is he really a local? No, because he really lives in New York or he lives in California. He just happens to own a property over here and he sees that this is a new property and he wants to jump over to this one. But I think it really correlates with a very healthy marketing budget to get us in front of those individuals. And it's maintained. We had a very good year. If that's maintained, I personally think we'll have this thing sold within about 2 years.
So it'll be
John, just
fully
to
sold when it
Yeah.
opens.
I think 2.5 years.
that's
But
that's the
again,
I
plan,
think with
John. Yeah.
that runway, it's plausible for
yeah,
sure.
37
And particularly when you look at the top end of what's happening in the market, because it's not cyclical, and what's happening at the top end of the market is being driven by the scarcity that we continue to talk about. And
Right.
so if you get to that, if we get to that point in 29 when something is unlikely available, but if it is, then there's going to be a premium price that you pay for
Oh,
it.
absolutely. Yeah.
You're
Absolutely.
I mean, you're offering to have that level of square footage there in a building is in the minority. It's possible to find.
Absolutely.
There's
Absolutely.
37. That's it.
30, I mean,
37 of
that's
them.
why we call it mansions in the sky. It really is a mansion in the sky. It's a house in the sky. It's for those individuals that don't necessarily want to purchase a home in this area. They want to have something that's a lot easier for them to lock up and leave. And there's such a scarcity of the single family homes, right?
Yeah, I
That's
think
very
it's
difficult.
misleading when we read in the journal and so about real estate, prices coming down. I think there's definitely two markets. They could talk about national
Sure.
averages, and then they have to talk about the ultra high net worth
Yeah.
market, and that is behaving very differently than the national averages. I mean, so can you talk to us about the market generally in South Florida? Because a lot of people are like, oh, I think that maybe it's a bubble. I mean, why is this not a bubble for, I mean, I think I can answer that, but you'll do a better job. Go ahead.
Well,
I
before you jump in,
okay.
Tara and John, I just want to touch on one thing because we had it up on a slide earlier, but this excites me. This also blows my mind. And when we continue to look at this data, it continues to blow my mind. First off, and I'm going to talk again about this surgical sector of the market. But this top end, this market did not exist back prior to 2018, pre-COVID. So this $30 million plus market or this $5,000 a square foot, residences did not exist. And since then, we're not only seeing a continued rising trend. What's the most interesting and somewhat shocking is that in 2025, single family condo sales combined, 90% of the deals over 30 million were done in cash. When you look at the condo market only at 5,000 square feet, $5,000 a square foot and up, 88% of those deals were done in cash. So this is a completely different market where this is liquid money. There's no bubble, there's no imploding. This is cash coming into the market in a very, very big way.
After a year where we saw a 22% increase in the stock market. So a lot of people are feeling pretty good about the economy, their own economy, if they've been heavily into the stock market. A lot of people have made even more in the tech sector, and I guess that's your target customer. A lot of those people who are doing really well, and after 3 or 4 years of stock market appreciation, are looking for an interesting place to spend that money.
Yeah, I think so. I definitely think so. But yeah, I would say that there's no way are we in a bubble. I mean, if you saw people that were financing, yes, I'd say yeah, this could be quite scary. But they're all cash deals, and seeing that, I think we're in a period of history right now where we're seeing a lot of this capital relocation, right? From the global migration, the capital relocation, and capital attracts capital. And we're seeing a move here in Miami. And I think that's why we're all saying, listen, it just continues because this is what we're seeing is this migration within this area.
You haven't even mentioned the fact that Florida still doesn't have an income tax. And so a lot of people, so if you're speaking to Dubai, that's one thing. But if you're talking to Roberto Cabrera and his customers
Right.
specifically, that still matters, especially a lot of those people who are, as you said, 50% from the Northeast. And I
Mhm.
think you're speaking specifically about the New
New-
York
Yeah,
City,
the New
tri-state
York area,
area.
absolutely. Drew, do we have that that slide that shows that on the ones that don't have state
I
income
guess
tax?
what I'm saying is
There you go.
for
This one.
some of those people
Yeah,
making that much money in New York, they
right.
could have one of your condos for
Oh,
free
absolutely. Oh,
in the
yeah.
tax
Yeah.
savings.
Yeah.
For what they're
And the tax
saving in
savings, you're right.
taxes,
Yeah.
they should move to your condo for free.
Right.
Well, look what we're seeing here on the
Yeah.
map, and Tara, I'll let you speak to it. But if you look at the
Go
statistics
ahead.
and the migration, no, go ahead, Tara, please.
Oh, no, no. I mean, yeah, the statistics migration shows that of the, Texas, Florida are the ones that are leading the migration. People are leaving California, they're leaving New York. Many of them are. You see this on the chart itself and where they're going to Texas and Florida. But I also think obviously Texas is a much larger state, right? And then when you look at Florida, most of that migration is coming into South Florida. So you see a lot of that. And then those are the Texas, Florida, and Tennessee don't have state income tax.
Right.
So this again, you see a lot of these ultra high net worth individuals moving to places where they don't, obviously the taxes, it's a very key issue that we're seeing from California and from New York, as well as the whole entrepreneurial, the capital flow is following, and it tends to be in areas of warm climate too. That just happens to that what we're seeing here. But it's interesting to see those cities that are losing it. Kansas, Michigan, Louisiana, Massachusetts, New Jersey, New York, California. But this is what we're seeing. So, yeah,
Florida's really consolidating. There's a consolidation of U.S. wealth happening in
yeah,
Florida, and it's unfolding on as we speak.
it really is. It really is. I mean, it used to be back in the day, if you had a client that was looking at $10 million property, that was pretty amazing. But now they're coming in and it's 20, $50 million. And then they come in and they're asking for 100 million. We think, what is this, a joke? But it's not. You hear
It's a bit ego too. You have these people that they're like, Fred just bought a
yes.
$45 million apartment in London. You know what? I'm going to
Yeah.
buy this
Yeah.
$45 million thing in Miami. And I'm
Right.
going to send him pictures from me in the sun while he's in the cold or he's in the rain, and it becomes this, he bought a Picasso, I'm buying a
Yeah.
Van Gogh.
Yeah.
It's a
It's ego
crazy
driven.
game, but
You're
it's
right.
at that level.
And we've seen this so much in Florida, in Miami. So we first saw it in Faena. This was years ago, right, Drew? I mean, the guys were all coming there, all the Blavatniks, all of them, and they're all within that inner circle. They say that they bought into it. Oh, well, I'm going to buy into it. All of them bought into it. Then where did they go from there? They went to, where did they go from there? From Faena, then they went to, I think then they started going to Arte when we launched Arte. And the hope is that, once you have one of those guys that buys into the building, it tends to start that flow and the ripple effect. And a lot of it is ego driven, but because also they're all within the same network and they talk about it and they want to go where the better product is. They can say they've
The
purchased it.
wealth follows the wealth.
Exactly.
Yeah. It's FOMO.
That's a nice way to conclude. The wealth follows the wealth. I
Yeah.
feel like you're the right location. It's the right design. It's the right time, right? Coming off of a great stock market year. And it sounds like all systems are go at the Delmore and in Billionaire's Triangle generally. I mean, I don't think you're going to be the only winner.
No, no,
Um,
no. There's
so I
it's a
think this has been a fabulous show. I learned a lot about the area and your prospects in it. Very exciting. All right, let me take us through our final slides as we say goodbye. This has been Boroughs and Burbs 214. I am John Engel at theengelteam.com, robertocabrera.com. Look for his newsletter on the New York market. Thank you, Tara West from Douglas Elliman. This has been great. We can find you at Elliman.com and Tara West, and we can find Drew also at Elliman, Drew Backoff. This has been tremendous.
Very good. Well, thank
Thank you so much.
much.
Awesome.
Thank you. We really appreciate
Thanks for
it.
having
And we'll
us.
check in with you in fourth quarter 2028 and see
Yeah.
if you were right.
You'll be too
Sounds
late,
good.
John. You'll be
We
too
hope to,
late.
I know.
we hope to see you in Florida sooner, John. And Roberta, please.
You got
Okay.
it.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks,
See you
everybody.
guys.
Bye.
Thanks.